Section C was worse than Minho had imagined. The air already smelled bad. The oxygen recyclers were making horrible grinding sounds. Sparks flew from broken panels. The walls were cracked and leaking coolant. "We need to replace the main recycler unit," Minho said, looking at the damaged equipment, "and repair the oxygen lines, and seal the hull breaches, and we need to do all of it in less than 4 hours." "Then we should stop talking and start working," Thren said. They split into teams. Minho and Daeho worked on the main recycler. Mina and Sungho repaired the oxygen lines. Hana and Taeyang sealed the hull breaches. The Quillivans moved between all the teams, helping wherever they were needed. Jiwon coordinated everything, making sure they had the parts and tools they needed. The work was brutal. The recycler unit was heavy and hard to move. The oxygen lines were buried behind walls that had to be torn apart. The hull breaches were in hard-to-reach places, and every minute the air got thinner and harder to breathe. After 2 hours, Minho's hands were bleeding. His head hurt from the bad air. His muscles screamed at him to stop. But he kept working. Everyone kept working. "Oxygen levels at 40%, Jiwon announced. "We need to work faster." They worked faster. Minho stopped caring about being careful. He just focused on getting the job done. Weld this, connect that, replace this part. Move to the next problem. After 3 hours, disaster struck. A weakened section of wall collapsed. Air started rushing out through a huge hole. The pressure drop was so sudden that it knocked Minho off his feet. "Hull breach," someone yelled. "Everyone out!" But Minho did not leave. He grabbed a pressure suit from the emergency locker and put it on. Through the visor, he saw the Quillivan still working. They did not need air. Their crystalline bodies could survive in space. Shess saw him and made a gesture. "Come on, keep working," so Minho kept working. With the Quillivans helping him, they sealed the new breach with emergency foam. It was not pretty, but it held. The air stopped escaping. "Oxygen levels at 25%, Jiwon's voice crackled over the radio. "Critical levels. You have 30 minutes, 30 minutes. Minho looked at all the work still left to do. It was too much. They were not going to make it. Then he heard a sound. Footsteps. Lots of footsteps. Through his visor, Minho saw people coming into Section C. The residents who had been evacuated were coming back. They were carrying tools, parts, anything they could find. "You are trying to save our home," one of them said. "We should help." Suddenly, there were 50 people working instead of 15. People who did not know how to fix machines held lights so others could see. People who were too old to climb carried tools to those who could. Children ran messages between teams. The whole community was working together. "New plan," Minho shouted. "Everyone listen. We cannot fix everything. We just need to fix enough to keep the air from escaping. Seal all the small breaches. Get the recycler working at minimum power. We can do proper repairs later. Right now, we just need to survive." Everyone understood. They stopped trying to do perfect work and focused on fast work. Seal the cracks. Patch the holes. Get the recycler running, even if it was not running well. 15 minutes left. Minho was connecting the last power cable to the recycler unit. His hands were shaking so much he could barely hold the tools. Thren was next to him, holding the cable steady. "Almost there," Minho whispered. "Almost. 10 minutes left." The recycler unit was connected. Minho hit the power switch. Nothing happened. "No," he said. "No, no, no. Come on." He checked all the connections. Everything looked right. Why was it not working? Shess crawled under the unit and made a sound. "Here, this wire is broken. 5 minutes left." Minho did not have time to replace the wire properly. He took 2 pieces of metal and used them to bridge the break. It was dangerous and could cause a fire, but they did not have a choice. He hit the power switch again. The recycler unit hummed to life. Air started flowing. The oxygen meter started climbing. 26%, 27%, 28%. "It is working," Jiwon shouted. "The oxygen is coming back." Everyone cheered. People hugged each other. Some cried. Minho pulled off his pressure suit and took a deep breath. The air tasted like metal and oil, but it was air. They had done it. They had saved Section C. Minho collapsed against the wall, exhausted. Thren sat down next to him. "You did it again. You saved everyone." "We did it," Minho corrected. "All of us together." That night, the residents of Section C held a celebration in the main corridor. They had very little, but they shared everything. Food, drinks, stories, laughter. Minho sat in the middle of it all. surrounded by aliens and humans who had become friends. The old Draven who had counted the credits came over. "We still have some money left from the repair fund. 4,100 credits. We want you to have it." Minho stared. 4,000? But how? The parts cost less than we thought, and many people donated more after we saved the section. "This is yours. You saved our lives. You saved our home." 4,100 credits, plus the 200 from the scanner that he still had not sold. That was 4,300 credits total. More than enough to buy the plasma coil and repair the silver crane. Minho felt tears on his face. He did not try to hide them. "Thank you. Thank you so much," but then Shess approached with more news. The Quillivan elder was carrying something. It was the plasma coil from Grix. "The Quillivan clan bought this for you," Shess said. "We used our savings and the crystalline components we have been saving for years. This is our gift to you. You saved Liss. You saved Section C. You showed the galaxy what humans truly are. Not conquerors, not warriors, but people who will sacrifice everything for strangers." Minho could not speak. He just held the plasma coil and cried. The next day, Jiwan came to Base 7 with her 5 human friends. "We have been talking," she said. "The Silver Crane is a good ship. Big enough for cargo, but also big enough for a crew. What if we joined you? What if we turned your cargo ship into a rescue ship? We could travel the frontier helping people who are stranded and desperate, just like you were, just like all of us were." Minho looked at the Silver Crane, then at his new friends. Humans and Quillivans, people who believed in helping others. "Yes," he said. "Yes, let us do it." Over the next week, they installed the plasma coil. They converted part of the cargo space into living quarters. They painted a new name on the side of the ship, below Silver Crane. It said Hope Bringers in multiple languages. On the day they were ready to launch, hundreds of aliens came to Base 7 to say goodbye. Thren and Liss brought flowers made from crystal. Section C residents brought food for the journey. Even Grix, the mean parts dealer, came to wish them well. "You are touched by the Void Walkers," Grix said in his clicking voice. "Safe travels, human." Minho stood on the bridge of the Silver Crane with his crew. Jiwan was his first mate. The 5 human mechanics were ready at their stations. Thren was the chief engineer. Shess was the counselor. And little Liss was the mascot, the good luck crystal. "Ready to launch?" Jiwan asked. Minho looked at the view screen. Beyond Vortan Station, the galaxy waited. Somewhere out there, someone needed help. Someone was stranded. Someone was desperate. "Ready," Minho said. "Let us go find someone to save." The Silver Crane's engines roared to life. The ship lifted from Base 7 and moved toward the station exit. As they passed through the docking gates, Minho sent out a message on all the common frequencies. "This is Han Minho of the Silver Crane. To anyone stranded or desperate in the dark corners of space, we are coming. We do not care what species you are or how much money you have. We care that you need help. Hold on. Someone gives a damn about you. Hope is coming." The ship jumped into hyperspace, carrying its crew toward their first rescue mission. Behind them, Vortan Station grew smaller and smaller until it was just a point of light. Minho smiled. He had come to this station broken and alone, with just enough credits to dream of escape. He was leaving with less money than he arrived with. But he was leaving with something much more valuable. He was leaving with family, with purpose, with hope. And he was leaving as someone who had proven something important. In a galaxy that could be cruel and cold, humans chose to be kind. They chose to sacrifice. They chose to care. That was what made them special. That was what made them hope bringers. That was what made them human. Everything was finally going well. Minho had 780 credits. The Quillivans were helping him fix other problems on the Silver Crane, while he earned the last 70 credits for the plasma coil. In 3 more days, maybe 4, he would be able to leave Vortan Station. Then the alarm went off. It was not the normal station alarm. This was the emergency sound, the one that meant something was very wrong. All over the station, lights started flashing red. A voice came over the speakers. "Emergency in Section C, life support failure. All residents of Section C must evacuate immediately." This is not a drill. Minho ran out of his ship with the Quillivans. Other people in Base 7 were looking around, scared and confused. Section C was on the other side of the station, in the poorest area. That was where the refugees lived, the people who had nowhere else to go. "How many people are in Section C?" Minho asked Shess. "Maybe 300, the old Quillivan replied. Maybe more. Many families, many children. The announcement came again. Emergency in Section C. Life support failure. Critical damage to oxygen recyclers. Estimated time until atmosphere loss 4 hours, 4 hours. In 4 hours, Section C would vent all its air into space. 300 people would die. Minho ran toward Section C. He did not know why. He just ran. When he got there, he found chaos. People were trying to evacuate, but there was a problem. Section C had only 2 exits, and both were jammed with scared aliens trying to get out. Security guards were trying to control the crowd, but it was not working. Minho pushed his way to the front and found a station official. "What is happening? Can you fix the life support?" The official, a tired-looking human woman, shook her head. The oxygen recycler had a catastrophic failure. The whole system needs to be replaced. It would cost 5,000 credits to fix and take 2 days of work. We do not have time or money. So you are just letting these people die? We are evacuating them, the woman said defensively. But there are too many. Not enough ships, not enough space in other sections. We will save who we can. Minho felt sick. That is not good enough. Someone needs to fix the life support. It cannot be fixed. The parts alone cost 5,000 credits. Section C residents are poor. They do not have that kind of money. Minho looked through the doorway into Section C. He saw families huddled together. He saw children crying. He saw old aliens who could not move fast enough to evacuate. They all had the same look on their faces. The look of people who knew they were going to die. He turned and ran back to Bay 7. Thren and the other Quillivans were there, along with Park Ji-won, the human trader he had met. Section C is going to lose all its air in 4 hours, Minho said, breathing hard. 300 people will die if someone does not fix the life support system. Can it be fixed? Ji-won asked. Maybe, if someone has the right equipment and the skill to work fast in dangerous conditions. And if Section C residents can pay for the parts, Shess made a thoughtful sound. How much do they have? I do not know. Let me find out. Minho ran back to Section C. He found a group of residents who were collecting money instead of evacuating. An old Draven was counting credits. We have 2,100 credits, the Draven said. It is everything everyone could give. Is it enough? No, Minho said honestly. The official said you need 5,000 for parts and repairs. Then we are dead. The Draven sat down heavily. We cannot leave. There is nowhere for us to go. This station is our home. Minho looked at all the faces around him. 300 people, 300 lives. Just like Liz had been one life. One life that Minho had saved by giving everything. Could he do it again? Should he? He walked back to Bay 7 slowly. His mind was racing. He had 780 credits. If he added that to the 2,100 from Section C, that was 2,880 credits. Still not enough for all the parts they would need, but maybe, just maybe if he could rent equipment instead of buying it, if he could use cheaper alternatives, if he worked very fast and very carefully, maybe he could do it. Maybe he could save them. But it would cost him everything again. All his credits, all his hope of leaving. He would be back to zero, back to nothing. Park Ji-won found him sitting outside the Silver Crane. She sat down next to him. I heard about Section C, she said quietly. I also heard they want to hire you to fix it. I do not have enough money for the equipment, Minho said. Even with their credits and mine, it is not enough. I could lend you the equipment, Ji-won said. I have tools and parts. But Minho, you need to think about this. This is dangerous. The life support could fail completely while you are in there. You could die. 300 people will definitely die if I do nothing. But you have already done enough, Ji-won insisted. You saved that Quillivan child. You helped your new friends. You do not owe these people anything. I have a friend who captains a trading ship. He needs a mechanic. I can get you on his crew today. You can leave the Silver Crane here and come back for it later when you have more money. You do not have to sacrifice yourself again. Minho touched his grandfather's multi-tool. He thought about everything that had happened since he gave his credits to Thren. He thought about how the Quillivans had helped him, how strangers had given him work, how the community had formed around one act of kindness, and he thought about what his grandfather had said. Real humanity shows up when helping costs you something important. I have to try, Minho said finally. I have to at least try, Ji-won sighed. You are either the bravest human I have ever met or the most foolish. Maybe both. She stood up. Okay, I will lend you my equipment, and I will help you. You do not have to. Yes, I do, she interrupted, because you reminded me what it means to be human. We help people, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. Within an hour, Minho had a plan. He would use the 2,100 credits from Section C to buy the absolutely necessary parts. He would use his 780 credits to rent equipment from Jiwon. He would need help, lots of help, to fix everything in 4 hours. Thren and all the Quillivans volunteered immediately. Quillivans can work in zero atmosphere, Shess explained. If the air fails while you're working, we can keep going. We can save you. 5 more humans showed up, friends of Jiwon. They were all mechanics or engineers, all stuck on Vorten Station for different reasons. Their names were Lee Daeho, Choi Mina, Kang Sung-ho, Yoon Hana, and Nam Taeyang. We heard what you did for that Quillivan kid, Daeho said. We want to help, Mina nodded. It has been a long time since I felt proud to be human. You made me remember. Minho looked at all of them. Quillivans and humans, strangers an hour ago, now standing together to save 300 lives. We have 4 hours, he said. Let us get to work. They gathered their tools and headed to Section C. Behind them, the Silver Crane sat quiet in Bay 7. Minho did not look back. There was no time. 300 people needed him. Everything else could wait. Minho walked back to his ship with the scanner in his hand and nothing else. His pouch was empty. His pockets were empty. He climbed into the Silver Crane and sat on the cold floor. What had he done? 3 weeks of work. 3 weeks of cutting his hands on sharp metal and breathing bad air and eating terrible food. 3 weeks of hope. All gone in 5 minutes because he saw a sick child and could not walk away. He put his head in his hands. Part of him wanted to cry. Part of him wanted to scream. Part of him wanted to run after Thren and ask for the money back, but he did not do any of those things. Instead, he sat there and thought about his grandfather. His grandfather had been a mechanic too. He had fixed cars in Seoul for 40 years. He had worked hard every day of his life. He never got rich. He never became famous. But everyone in the neighborhood knew him. Everyone respected him. When his grandfather died, hundreds of people came to say goodbye. Why do people love you so much? Young Minho had asked him once. His grandfather had smiled. Because I help people even when it is hard. Especially when it is hard. Anyone can do good things when it is easy. But real goodness, real humanity that shows up when helping someone costs you something important. Minho looked at the scanner in his hands. It was a decent piece of equipment. Maybe he could sell it for 200 credits like he had promised Thren. But 200 credits was a long way from 850 credits. He would have to start over. Work for weeks again. Maybe months unless he left the Silver Crane behind. He could probably buy a ticket on another ship for 200 credits. Just leave. Give up on his ship. Start fresh somewhere else, but he could not do that. This ship was his. He had worked too hard for it. It meant too much, so he would stay. He would work. He would save up again. He stood up and walked to the small bathroom to wash his face. When he looked in the mirror, he looked tired. His eyes had dark circles under them. He needed a haircut. He needed a shave. He looked like someone who had been stuck on a bad station for too long. But he also looked like someone who had done the right thing. That night, Minho could not sleep. He kept thinking about Thren and the child. He wondered if they had gotten the medicine. He wondered if the child would survive. He hoped so. He hoped his sacrifice had not been for nothing. The next morning, something strange happened. Minho was outside his ship, trying to figure out what jobs he could do with no money for tools, when he saw 5 Quillivans walking toward Bay 7. Their crystalline bodies caught the red light from the station's fake sun, making rainbow colors dance on the walls. The Quillivans stopped in front of him. One of them, older with darker crystals, stepped forward. You are Han Minho? The old Quillivan asked. Yes, Minho said carefully. Can I help you? We are family of Thren. We heard what you did. You saved young Liss. You gave everything to a stranger. The old Quillivan held out a small bag. We do not have much. Our people are poor, but we collected 400 credits from all of us. Please take it. Minho stared at the bag. No, I cannot take your money. You need it. We need to repay kindness with kindness, another Quillivan said. This is our way, please. And we want to help you fix your ship, a third one added. Quillivans are good with machines. We will work with you for free until your ship flies again. Minho did not know what to say. He had expected anger from the universe for his choice. He had expected more suffering. He had not expected this. "I do not understand," he said quietly. "Why would you do this?" The old Quillivan, whose name was Shess, made a sound like wind chimes. It was Quillivan laughter. "Because you showed us that not all species in this galaxy are cruel. You gave us hope. That is worth more than credits. But credits help too, so please take them." Minho took the bag. His hands were shaking. Inside were 400 credits. Plus the 200 from the scanner, he now had 600 credits. Still not enough for the plasma coil, but much closer than zero. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you so much." "Thank you," Shess replied. "Now show us your ship. Let us see what needs to be fixed." That day changed everything for Minho. The 5 Killovans were not just good with machines. They were amazing. Their crystalline fingers could reach into tiny spaces. They could see energy flows that Minho could not see. They worked fast and careful. Word spread through the station about what Minho had done. At first he did not notice. But then more aliens started coming to Base 7 with work. A Draven merchant hired him to fix 3 machines and paid him double the normal rate. A Tethan engineer left a box of spare parts near his ship with a note that said, "You might need these." Even stranger, Grix the Vexian parts dealer sent someone with a message. Grix would hold the plasma coil for 2 more weeks. No extra charge. Minho could not believe it. On a station where everyone only cared about themselves, people were helping him. All because he had helped someone else first. Over the next week, Minho worked harder than he ever had before. But now he was not alone. The Quillovans worked with him. They brought him food when he forgot to eat. They told him stories about their home world, a place where everything grew from crystal and sang in the wind. They taught him Killovan songs, and Thren came to visit with Lys, the child. Lys was better. The gray patches were gone. The child's crystalline body glowed with healthy colors. Lys laughed, and the sound was like tiny bells ringing. "Thank you," Thren said again. "You saved my world." "Lys is my world." Minho felt his eyes get wet. He had not cried in years, but seeing the healthy child made something break loose inside him. "I am just glad I could help." "You did more than help," Thren said seriously. "You changed everything." Look around. Minho looked. Base 7 used to be empty except for his broken ship. Now Quillovans were working there. Other aliens stopped by to say hello or offer work. A human trader named Park Jiwon had introduced herself and said she admired what he had done. "You created something here," Thren continued. "You created community. On a station where everyone is alone, you reminded people that we do not have to be." That night, Minho counted his credits again. He had 780 credits now. Just 70 more to go. At this rate, with all the work coming in, he would have enough in just a few more days. He lay down in the cargo hold, but it did not feel as cold anymore. Maybe because he had been working so hard, or maybe because he did not feel so alone. His grandfather had been right. Doing the right thing, even when it cost everything, created something valuable. It created connections. It created community. It created hope. Minho smiled in the darkness. Soon his ship would fly again. But more importantly, he had learned something about the galaxy and about himself. Kindness was not weakness. Kindness was strength. And sometimes when you gave everything away, the universe gave you back something even better. He fell asleep with that thought. While outside in the corridors of Vortan Station, aliens whispered about the human mechanic who had sacrificed everything for a stranger's child. The story was spreading. And soon, it would change everything. Minho wiped the grease from his hands and looked at the broken engine one more time. 3 weeks. He had been stuck on this terrible station for 3 whole weeks. His ship, the Silver Crane, sat in Base 7 with a dead engine and no way to fly. The plasma coil had burned out during the jump, and without it, his ship was just a useless metal box floating in space. Vortan Station was not a nice place. It orbited a dying star that gave everything a red, sick-looking glow. The station was old and falling apart. Rust covered the walls. The air smelled like oil and something rotten. All kinds of aliens came here to trade, to hide, or to cheat each other. Nobody asked questions on Vortan Station. Nobody helped anyone for free. Minho had been working every day since he got stuck here. He fixed broken machines for aliens who paid him very little. He repaired busted equipment in dark corners of the station, where the air recyclers barely worked. His back hurt. His hands were covered in cuts and burns. But he kept working because he needed the money. Every night he counted his credits. The small metal coin sat in a worn pouch that his grandfather had given him years ago. Tonight, sitting in the cold cargo hold of his ship, Minho counted again. 847 credits. He had 847 credits. The plasma coil cost 850 credits. He was 3 credits short. Just 3. After 3 weeks of hard work, sleeping on a cold floor, eating cheap nutrition bars that tasted like cardboard, he was still 3 credits away from going home. Minho wanted to scream. He wanted to punch something, but instead he just laughed. It was a tired, sad laugh. Of course he was 3 credits short. That was just how life worked out here in space. The universe had a sense of humor, and it was not a kind one. He lay down on the cargo floor using his jacket as a blanket. The metal was cold against his back. Through the small window he could see other ships coming and going. Ships with working engines. Ships with crews and cargo and destinations. Ships that were not broken. Tomorrow he would do one more job. Just one more. Then he would have enough money to buy the plasma coil from Grix, the Vexian parts dealer. Grix was not a nice alien. He had 4 arms and a face that looked like an angry insect. He never gave discounts. He never helped anyone. Minho had asked him 3 times if he could pay 847 credits for the coil. 3 times Grix had said no. 850 credits, Grix had said in his clicking voice. Not 1 credit less. You do not have enough money, human. Come back when you do. So Minho would come back tomorrow with the full amount. He had already found a job for the morning. A Draven merchant needed someone to fix a cooling unit. The merchant would pay 5 credits. It was not much, but it would be enough. Minho touched the old multi-tool on his belt. His grandfather had carried it for 40 years on Earth before giving it to him. The measure of a man, his grandfather had said, is not what he does when things are easy. It is what he does when things cost him everything. Right now everything was costing Minho everything, but tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow he would fix his ship. Tomorrow he would leave this awful station and never come back. He closed his eyes and tried to sleep. The ship creaked and groaned around him. Somewhere in the station someone was yelling. Someone else was playing loud music. A fight broke out in the corridor outside and he heard the sound of things breaking. This was Vortan Station. This was the edge of known space where the law did not reach and kindness was seen as weakness. Everyone here was running from something or running toward something. Nobody stayed longer than they had to, except for people like Minho. People who got stuck. People whose ships broke down and whose luck ran out. He thought about Earth, green trees, blue sky, rain that was actually water instead of recycled condensation that tasted like metal. He thought about his family, his friends, the small apartment in Seoul where he had grown up. He had left all of that 5 years ago to see the galaxy, to have adventures, to be free. Some freedom this was, sleeping on a cold floor, 3 credits short of escape. But Minho was not the type to feel sorry for himself for too long. He had chosen this life. He had wanted to see the stars, and he had seen them. He had wanted to work with his hands, and he did. Yes, things were hard right now. Yes, he was tired and broke and stuck. But he was still alive. He still had his skills. He still had his ship, even if it was broken. Tomorrow would be better. It had to be. He finally fell asleep as the station's artificial night cycle began. The lights dimmed. The crowds in the corridors thinned out. Even Vortan Station got quiet sometimes, though it never really slept. Somewhere, someone was always making a deal. Someone was always fixing something or breaking something. The station kept turning, kept floating through space, kept being the temporary home to thousands of beings who all wanted to be somewhere else. In Bay 7, the Silver Crane sat silent and dark. It was a good ship. Minho had bought it with money he had saved for years. It was not fancy or fast, but it was his. The hull was strong. The cargo space was big enough for decent loads. The engines, when they worked, were reliable. The ship had carried him to 15 different worlds. It had survived asteroid fields and solar storms. It had been his home, his business, and his freedom. Now it was just a broken thing waiting to be fixed, but not for much longer. Tomorrow, Minho would have his 850 credits. Tomorrow, he would buy the plasma coil. Tomorrow, he would install it himself because he could not afford to pay someone else to do it. And maybe in 3 or 4 days, if everything went well, he would fire up the engines and leave this cursed station behind. He dreamed of flying. He dreamed of the jump through hyperspace. That feeling of the universe folding around you. He dreamed of seeing his family again, of eating real food, of sleeping in a real bed. Tomorrow would be better. Tomorrow had to be better. Outside, Vortan Station kept spinning through the darkness, and the dying star kept glowing its sick red light. And in Bay 7, a human mechanic slept with 847 credits in his pocket and hope in his heart. Just one more day. Just 3 more credits, then everything would be fine. Minho woke up to the sound of shouting. At first, he thought it was just another station fight. But this sounded different. This sounded like panic. He grabbed his jacket and climbed out of the silver crane. The morning lights on Vortan Station were coming on, giving everything that ugly red glow again. A crowd had gathered near the market area not far from Bay 7. Minho could see aliens pushing and shoving, all trying to look at something. He walked over, curious. Maybe someone was selling something interesting. Maybe there was news from the core worlds. On Vortan Station, entertainment was hard to find. When he pushed through the crowd, he saw what everyone was looking at. An alien stood in the middle of the circle. Minho recognized the species Quillivan. They had crystalline skin that looked like colored glass. This one had blue and purple crystals covering their body. They had 3 eyes, all of them looking around desperately. In their 4-fingered hands, they held a small scanning device. "Please," the Quillivan was saying. "Please, someone. I need credits. I will sell this scanner. It is worth 200 credits, but I will take 100, please." The crowd just watched. Nobody stepped forward. Minho saw several aliens laugh. A big Draven merchant with gray skin shook his head and walked away. "Nobody wants your junk, Glitcher," someone yelled. The Quillivan's crystalline face somehow managed to look heartbroken. "Please, my child is sick. I need medicine, please." Now Minho understood why nobody was helping. Quillivans were called glitchers on stations like this. Their crystalline bodies gave off some kind of energy that made electronic equipment act strange. Most stations did not want them around. Most merchants would not trade with them. The Quillivan turned around, showing the scanner to different people in the crowd. Everyone stepped back or turned away. One alien actually spit on the ground near the Quillivan's feet. "Get out of here, Glitcher. You are bad luck." Minho noticed something else. Behind the Quillivan, sitting against a wall, was a small figure. A child. The child was wrapped in a dirty blanket, and even from here, Minho could see that something was wrong. Parts of the child's crystalline body were turning gray. The colors were fading. The adult Quillivan, probably the parent, kept trying. "My child has crimson flux. Without medicine, my child will die. Please. I just need 900 credits. Please help us, 900 credits." Minho felt sick. He had 847 credits. Even if he gave everything, it would not be enough. And this was not his problem anyway. He had his own troubles. He needed to fix his ship. He needed to leave. A station security guard walked by, saw the Quillivan, and made a disgusted sound. "You have 1 hour to clear out of this area, Glitcher. No begging allowed in the market zone." The Quillivan's light seemed to dim. All 3 eyes were wet, though Minho did not know if Quillivans could cry. "Please, officer. My child, not my problem. 1 hour." The guard walked away. The crowd started to break up. The show was over. Everyone went back to their business. In the end, only Minho stood there, watching the Quillivan parent hold up the scanner with shaking hands. The child against the wall coughed. It was a horrible sound, like breaking glass. Minho turned away. He needed to go find that Draven merchant, do the cooling unit job, get his 5 credits. This was not his business. He could not save everyone. Space was full of sad stories. If he tried to help everyone, he would never get anywhere. He would die poor and broken on a station like this. He walked 10 steps back toward Bay 7. Then he stopped. He thought about the child coughing. That sounded like breaking glass. He thought about what 900 credits meant. It meant life or death. It meant a parent watching their child die, knowing they could not do anything to stop it. He touched his grandfather's multi-tool on his belt. The measure of a man is what he does when it costs him everything. Minho closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then he turned around and walked back to the Quillivan. Up close, he could see the parent's name tag. It said Thren in multiple languages. Thren looked at Minho with those 3 eyes, and Minho saw hope and fear mixed together. "The scanner," Minho said. "How much do you want for it?" Thren's crystalline body seemed to light up a little. 200 credits. It is a good scanner. It works perfectly. I just I just need the money. I will give you 200 credits for the scanner, Minho said. Then he took a breath and continued. And I will give you all the rest of my money. I have 847 credits total. You can have it all, Thren stared at him. All three eyes went wide. What? No, I cannot, that is too much. I only need… Your child needs 900 credits for medicine, right? Minho pulled out his worn pouch and emptied all his credits into his hand. He had been carrying these coins for 3 weeks. He had earned them with cut hands and tired muscles. He had counted them every night. They were supposed to buy his freedom. He held them out to Thren. Take them. Get the medicine. Save your child, Thren did not move. Why would you do this? I am Quilivan. Humans do not help Quilivans. Nobody helps us. I am helping you, Minho said simply. He reached forward and pressed the credits into Thren's hands. The crystalline skin felt cool and smooth like touching glass. Go right now. Get the medicine before it is too late. But what about you? What do you need the credits for? Minho looked back at Bay 7 at his broken ship. I need a plasma coil to fix my ship. It costs 850 credits. I was 3 credits short. Now I am 850 credits short. But that is okay. I can earn more money. Your child cannot wait for more time. Thren's entire body started to glow with colors, blues and purples and bright whites. The light pulsed in waves. Minho realized this was how Quilivans cried. The light was tears. I do not understand, Thren whispered. We are strangers. Different species. I cannot repay you. You do not need to repay me, Minho said. Just go save your child. That is enough. Thren looked at the credits in their hands, then looked at their child against the wall. Then back at Minho. What is your name, human? Han Minho. Han Minho, I will never forget this. My family will never forget. The Quilivan people will never forget. Go, Minho said again, more firmly this time. Your child is waiting. Thren nodded, turned and ran. They scooped up the small child in their arms and ran toward the medical bay. Other aliens in the market area stepped aside quickly, not wanting to get close to the glitchers. Minho stood there holding the scanner. 200 credits worth of equipment. That was all he had now. No plasma coil, no way home, no idea how long it would take to save up again. He felt empty. He felt scared. He felt tired. But when he thought about that child's face, about those gray patches on the crystalline skin, about that horrible coughing sound, he felt something else too. He felt like he had done the right thing even if it cost him everything.